Hey guys, welcome back to Theme Thought. Grab your coffee, water, tea, whatever you're drinking, go and get that. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. That's good. All right. So, let's do some housekeeping matters. I realize Erica is live. Well, not live. Erica is premiering, and so is Vitamin Q. So, um, let me go through some things. It wasn't a vacation. I had a weekend away. And so and also apologies. This is not my normal time for going live. I know a lot of people are confused. Sorry if I threw everyone off, but I apologize. I appreciate rather you guys being here. So, a couple of things that I want to go through. Mm. Before you guys ask, I have no Eco Styler gel, so this is my hair in its natural state. Well, not really that natural, right? Like I did put something moisturizer in, but usually I put the Eco Styler in to keep it up, but it I don't know what's happening. I don't. It doesn't matter. This is not about me. All right. So. On my weekend away, I had the opportunity to sit and talk to some people. I can't talk about what we talked about because it would breach confidentiality, right? But people who cared about me and cared about the channel, um, they really expressed to me some very important things that I need to consider as I go forward. And I understood, right? But I think that I'm going to say the Lord works in mysterious ways because I came back and today, literally on my lunch break, right? Like no one ever does this. I got a call from a professor that watches my channel, and she was concerned that I was in the gray area, not yet over in any mean spirited or anything like that yet. But she was concerned that I might regret some of the things that I do if I continue down this path or whatever path it is. And so as we started talking, she started explaining to me that the way in which I have sort of lost my spark or my hope, particularly in a certain sector of the community. She was concerned that I no longer was speaking from a place of heart. It was just from my head. Obviously, I sat down to try to figure out what she was talking about. Um, but she was very keen about expressing that I needed to reconnect that which I say and that which I think, even though she thinks it's right and she agrees, she thinks that I should not lose the part of the conversation that is deeply human, right? Um, and it's interesting because as I was talking to the people that I was talking to in Florida, right, the Carnival thing, as I was talking to them, that didn't come up in that way, but it was a compounding effect when I started talking to my professor. And then I got called. So I have a couple layers of reviews of my videos, right? And so I have not been told to take a video down. I have not been told that any of my videos were out of order, but I have been called in twice to defend something that I said, right? Because I do have a world outside of YouTube. And I sat down and they said, you said the people who were reviewing my content said, you said this. This is inappropriate for you to say. And I said, sure, it could be inappropriate, but it's statistically provable. And then I went through the process of sort of explaining where it is and what I've said. And so the review was complete, everything was okay. Um, And then I came home today, and before this live, I sat down and I was thinking about how I wanted to approach, because I think it's important to make this conversation public. And so, as I was thinking about this, I realized that we have a lot of fun on here. I realize that we engage in discourse that could be really impactful, but also really dangerous, right? And so realizing those two things and having the conversations that I have, all in the span of a day. Like the first conversation happened yesterday, the next conversation happened today, and then I get called to defend something that I said in a video to make sure that it was appropriate and not against any kind of policy. Because all my videos, every single one of them, gets reviewed. And so as I was thinking about this, I'm like, am I proud of the work that I've done? The answer to that is yes. The problem is I have moved from the kind of human connection to the kind of strictly telling you as it is, logical, research based content creation. And I don't want to lose or not see people as human. So as we engage in this sort of pedagogical approach to the Black community, which we will continue to do, I want you guys to obviously keep me humble, but remind me and each other of our collective humanity as we engage in this discourse. I think that is important. Um, as a separate note, I've been trying to be on these YouTube streets and go to people's channel and converse with people. I am going to step back from almost all of that. I'm just going to step back because I do think that I can get sucked into the mess that is happening all over YouTube. And I think we all kind of like mess, but I don't want that to distract from this content um, and what this is doing. And so I'm going to be stepping back a lot, not from my channel. This we're going full force on here, but I will be stepping back from going on other people's channel because I think that is um I think that I don't want my image to be used for promotion generally, but that's not my issue. I think my fundamental issue is that I I want to engage with people in a meaningful, good faith way. And I want the conversation to be honest. And I don't want it to be an attack. And I don't want it to be a fight. I just want us to be able to have meaningful conversation. So, a part of that also means that I have to get stricter. Hey, how are you, Sophie? I hope all is well. I hope all is well. Um, Miss Kiwi, welcome. Love self. Um, just thank you guys, but I have to be stricter, right? I don't like telling people no. I don't like muting people. I don't like blocking people. I don't like timing people out, but I have to. The channel has grown enough to where I don't get to excuse my behavior. I don't get to excuse my complacency. I don't get to excuse what is happening in the chat by saying I can't keep in contact and I can't keep it up. I can't keep up. I don't get to do that. I am responsible for what happens on this channel and I take full responsibility for it. That means we will not be disrespecting each other in the chat. We can have some fun, but we will not be disrespecting each other in the chat. If you are timed out or you're blocked by one of the moderators or myself, uh, unless you can show me any reason why you should be reinstated, it won't be reinstated. This is not about growth. This is not about having more subscribers. I think we are good with the subscriber we have. And if we never get another subscriber, it would be fine. but we cannot allow disrespect to fester in the channel. That is not just for the chat box, but it's also when you come on. You cannot disrespect anyone. Now, let's get straight to the homophobia. It's not allowed. 0%. It is there. There is no tolerance level that it will be allowed here at all. It just won't happen. So that's the first thing. The second thing, transphobia. I recognize that I have a channel that is predominantly women, right? I can't tell women what womanhood is. I would never I would never attempt to tell women how to define womanhood. But what I can say is that we will respect each other. I'm not telling you to call anyone by any gender. I'm telling you to call people by their name. That is it. If there is someone here that you think is not a woman or not she or her, that's fine. Just call them by their name or do not address them. It is that simple. I don't care who you are at all. I don't care how long you've been on the channel. It doesn't matter to me. I have to foster a place of respect and continued respect. So if you are on the screen and you say any of the words that are not allowed, you will be removed. If you're in the chat box and you do, you will be removed. You don't have to gender anyone. I am not telling you to concede to anything. I'm not pushing any kind of agenda regarding this. But if someone tells you their name is Patricia and you don't think they're a Patricia, do not address them. You will address them by their name. That is it. You don't have to say she, her, or whatever her pronoun is, but you don't get to call them anything else but their name. And that is not, I don't think that is difficult because in the real world, people tell you their name, even if it's a little bit odd, you use their name. That is it. The conversation there is completely closed. I don't want to have this conversation ever again. All right. So that being said, we're going to get into this video. There's a zero tolerance policy as of now, and part of that is YouTube bleeds into my real life, but outside of having to always defend what I say on here, I now have to take accountability for what is happening in the chat. I have to take accountability for the quote unquote climate that I'm creating, right? And that's something that I didn't really consider, but I cannot pretend that I'm not a part of this community by saying, oh, the chat is going too quickly. So that's that on that. We're done on that, and so we can get into the video. Oh, by the way, people ask, how was Carnival? Carnival was fun. I came back a new person. I haven't shaved in like 2 days. I haven't shaved in 2 days, and it's kind of scruffy. I'm thinking about keeping it and see if will it connect. Wait, wait, will it connect? We don't know. I may or may not. I may or may not be growing my beard and mustache and everything to connect something. We will see. I may. I might have to come on with a deeper voice when when this beard comes in. When this beard comes in, I will have a deeper voice. Good afternoon. Period. When this facial here comes in, I promise you it's over on Beyonce's internet. It is over on Beyonce's internet. I have to end in an hour. So I'm an hour, 30 minutes. That's kind of what I'm going to give it because I want to go to the gym. Part of what happened at Carnival is I went out and I cannot show those pictures because my outfit for Carnival was barely an outfit. My outfit was barely an. Let me show. I'm gonna show you down the phone because let me pull up a picture. Um, I cannot. This is not for public consumption. But period, I had so much fun. It stormed, and we were walking in the storm. It was fun. It was raining. We were dancing. I was going live on Instagram. Um, Vanessa probably don't want her picture out there. So all right, that if you didn't see it, you didn't see it. I moved it quickly. So that was that. It was fun. Oh, I need to tell you one thing that happened. A fun thing that happened. So I'm walking, minding my little business, doing what I need to do, giving what needs to be gave. And I'm there, and this lady, she's a much bigger lady, right? Tall, and she walks over to me, and I'm like dancing, right? And she starts dancing on me, and I'm like, you know what? Period. I got this. Why did the DJ say push back? So I have a whistle, and I'm blowing my whistle, and I'm getting my whole life. And I'm blowing my whistle, and they're like just going off. People are just dancing on me, and everyone is dancing on everyone, and it's just like a mess, like a big just mess. And I'm dancing, right? And I'm like, I'm standing firm. I've already lost some weight. Instead of gaining weight, I was losing weight. So I wasn't really at my 165, which I want to be. So I don't feel really super secure right now. And like my shoe is wet. So it's like slippery. The ground is slippery. And people are like dancing. Why is she dancing and we're dancing like we're dancing and everything is fine? The DJ is gonna say some pushback. I'm like, what do you mean pushback? So she starts like going off, like her hand is on the floor and she's like pushing me, and I'm like, I'm gonna die. This is where I die. I promise this is where I die. Thankfully, there were people behind me and they were just shoving me. So there are people in front of her shoving her. There are people behind me shoving me, and I'm literally in the middle dying. At this point, I'm no longer dancing. I'm just dying. I'm in there like suffocating and dying. I'm looking up to the sky and I'm wondering if I'm wondering if this is the moment. So the DJ stops and she finally moves away. And before I could like turn around, Vanessa posted this, right? The Vanessa posted this part. Before I could like get myself together and like figure out what is happening and like recenter and refocus, I feel another woman, pushing me down, and she's behind me, and two women like grabbing my hands and my body parts, and like like shoving me on the ground. I wasn't ready. I promise I wasn't ready. One more thing happened, but let me read this right. Themas, we're not going to pretend like you don't drop that picture showing off those thighs. You better drop the workout routine, period. Thank you, by the way. I do really go in on leg day. It actually makes me want to throw. I hate leg day. Themis, now I got beef with you. How did you go to Carnival and not take me with you? You're supposed to look after your Jamaican sister. Love you, Themis, but how you forget to take fellow Jamaicans with you? Look, y'all should have been there. It was so much fun. Oh, the lady that I posted, if you are here, hey. And for the other two people, there were people who were recognizing me, and I got really self-conscious. Like the way I wanted to crawl up in a shell, because like I'm out doing the general. I'm out at Carnival, and like people are recognizing me, and so someone came up and we were like talking for a little bit, and then we took a picture, and she was like, "I bet you won't post it." I'm like, "Do you know me?" When have I ever been afraid to post a pic? Like, I'm going to post a picture. And so we can go through and I will let you select the one you want posted, but I'm going to post a picture. Like, I'm here for posting a good picture. So I posted her. So if you're here, um, period. Uh, Something else happened, but I don't want to get into that. Well, no, let me get into. Should I? Should I? I mean, let me tell you. Let me tell you. So we're out. We're not Carnival. Before the Carnival, we were at Juve, right? Where we had paint and we were throwing paint in the air, and like there was paint all over me, and my hair was clumped together in like all kinds of paint. And we were just like, honestly, more fun than I've had in a long, long time. Thank you, Vanessa. So we are out there, and I see these men and women, and I've never been to a carnival, by the way, but I've been to Juve. But it was hosted by my university, so like people weren't doing this. So I saw men like grabbing women's chests and buttocks, and I was like getting really uncomfortable. um but the women were laughing, but it's still, I don't know, it kind of felt weird. And I'm telling you, where I just stopped caring. I am walking, and this lady comes up to me. I'm not going to tell you what she says. And she puts paint all over her hand. And she did something to me that I think was so inappropriate. Like I've never been, I feel like I was assaulted. But then Vanessa is going to move my something away, and my, what's that thing called? My lace. I had a lace thing covering me and all of that stuff. She moves it so that the lady could do it again. So apparently there's a culture there that does this. It was very inappropriate. Um, like she whispered, "You look like you got," and then she finished her statement and just went. And I was like, wait, what happened? And then Vanessa helped her to do it again. So do I have, I should have brought the pants. But anyway, yeah. Um I might not be going back to Juve, or like I will sort of stay away and not be under the paint. I, I was just like, no, this is wrong. This is not right. This is not right. Anywho, let's get into the video. Let's Oh my God. Thank you, Donna. By the way, for everyone who was in Miami, were like, come here and come do this. Everything was booked. Like it was booked, my schedule. And so it is fun, and I will be back, and I will let you know when I'm back. But it was a lot of fun. I've never felt so beautiful and loved. I've never felt so beautiful, like, because I don't go. I mean, I probably need to take my shirt off more. But look, I felt loved. Everyone was just like super nice. Everyone wanted to help people. Like it was just it was. All right, let's get into the story. Yeah, I mean, violated but loved. Yes. All right. So I'm going to. How do I want to start this? Because I want to go to Dr. Umar first. Um, how do I want the story? Do you guys do you guys already know the story? Drop a one if you know about. I'm gonna call him. Let's call him Nia Long's. Because I'm not gonna talk about Nia Long in this, but let's say call him Nia Long's ex. Nia Long's ex. Do you guys know the story? Drop a one if you know the story already, and drop a two if you do not. Udoko. All right, Me Too Themis is fine. All right. All right. So you guys pretty much know the story. All right. So let's hear how the Celtics came out with the story, because I think I white supremacy, racism, and that as a system, I think should be discussed and understood in this framework, right? But let's hear what the Celtics had to say. By the way, the only football I recognize is the one you guys call soccer. So this is going to be a mess, but let's get into it.
Obviously, a difficult time to be speaking to you all. It's a time of concern and reflection and action. We have strong values at the Celtics, and we are doing our very best to uphold them here. As you know, Ime Udoka has been suspended for the upcoming season for breaking team rules. For privacy reasons, I won't be able to offer many additional facts or circumstances around what occurred and why the suspension is in place. I really have to leave you with the wording of our statement, which was admittedly fairly crisp. You might notice I have notes here. I don't think I've ever had notes at a press conference. I enjoy speaking ad lib, extemporaneously, and letting things share freely. But in this case, I really have to refer to the notes and stay within the bounds. And I have to break it to you that if you had the notes in front of you, you wouldn't learn all that much. So it's sort of that type of press conference. I'm sorry for that. It's privacy reasons for the people involved is the concern. I can say a few things, and I have a few bullet points to add, and then Brad will have some words. I can say that as soon as we learned there was a potential situation, we immediately brought in a respected law firm to conduct a thorough investigation and impartial investigation. And they took some time. And we actually concluded that investigation with a report 2 days ago. So that's the reason for the timing here. There were leaks, by the way, around that time. Obviously, we would have nothing to do with that and nothing to gain from that, and any insinuation about the leaks. We don't know where they come from. They're part of the NBA, as we all know in this room, but it's really unfortunate. And it's unfortunate also that female staff members of the Celtics have been dragged into the public eye unwillingly and inappropriately, and we take a strong stand against that and just regret it for them. It's really, really unfortunate and not necessary. I won't be referring to anybody else who might be involved here, again, for privacy reasons, and not going to get into the details of the conduct at issue. But I have just a couple more closing little remarks. Ime has personally told me in a private conversation, just the general theme was, I'd say, acceptance and appreciation for how this has been handled. He can speak for himself on that, and in his release last night, he did speak to that, that he accepted this suspension. Brad and I have both met with the players. Brad can fill you in more on that, but I would say in general, they are very concerned about this. It's not a welcome development, but they also, I felt, have energy and focus and commitment and drive to really accomplish great things, hopefully this season. So that's the commitment I'm feeling from the players, and that based on last year and based on everything we know about them, I think that commitment will be fulfilled. The suspension is for a season through June 30th, and we will make a determination at a later time about Ime's future with us, and that'll be discussed another time and has not been decided at this point. I am concerned about the situation and its impact on everybody in the Celtics organization. And I do hope this represents the beginning of a new chapter and a chance to turn the page and move forward with things to some extent resolved.
Kenny said, wait, this sounds like SA, not adultery. Exactly. Wait, we are going to get into this now because I find the conversation online actually abhorrent. I wasn't even going to talk about this at all, but when Dr. Umar spoke, I had a problem. And this video essentially is about Dr. Umar's response to what happened. He said a lot, but one very specific line he said highlights that Dr. Umar does not understand consent, right? And his lack of understanding of consent is extraordinarily dangerous, not just for women involved, but for the men listening to him. And he does need to come back and clarify. Like, I think this might be one of the videos in which Dr. Umar should be held accountable and come back and explain what consent is. But we'll get to Dr. Umar in a moment. So we don't know what happened, right? No one actually knows what happened fully, right? But we do know there was something inappropriate happening. There was an investigation. It was so bad that they got a law firm involved, and there was an investigation. He was suspended for a season, and they will sort of go back into some kind of negotiation if he is to come on for the next season, right? That's essentially all of the information we currently have. So this is what, sorry, this is what Udoka had to say. Let's read it. I wish the rock girl was here, but this is his response. I want to apologize to our players, fans, the entire Celtics organization, and my family for letting them down. I am sorry for putting the team in this difficult situation, and I accept the team's decision. Out of respect for everyone involved, I will have no further comments. All right. So this sounds to me like he is accepted. Now, because you confessed, well, this is not really a confession, but because you've conceded and accepted your punishment and move on, doesn't always mean that you were wrong. But I believe you were wrong here, right? But it's interesting to me that it didn't die here in terms of the conversation about him being right or wrong. It continued, and it continued specifically with Stephen A. Smith. Now, let's hear what Stephen A. Smith had to say, because it's going to lead into a huge sort of interaction with a lady that Dr. Umar is going to pick up on and then make his comment. So bear with me as we struggle through what is happening now. So this is what Stephen A. Smith, that's his name, right? Yes. I don't watch sports, but I'm assuming it's Stephen A. Smith, had to say.
Got to be publicized. That's all I'm talking about.
But Stephen A., if actions have occurred, the Celtics do have the right to get in front of it if it's bigger than what we know it to be. Here's the question I've been asking myself since I heard about this news yesterday. Because we see organizations do this all the time that have won championships or in the spirit to win at all costs, which is sports, right? We see it in football, we see it in basketball all the time. Guy's been in a world championship the year prior and part of the odds-on favorite to get to the championship again. If he's having a consensual relationship, even though it violates team policy, wouldn't that be like a 10, 20 game suspension? Would that be a whole year? So a whole year to me.
I don't think it would be a 10 to 20 game suspension.
Not even that. So Ron Artest, the Malice in the Palace, had a year-long suspension. So what else is here that has made Brad Stevens, who I've spent time with, I know personally from his Butler days and actually spending time with him at Jordan Cornett's golf outing a month ago, has always seemed reasonable, practical, has had a relationship with him for a very long time. What would allow the team to make it a year-long suspension? That's a very long time. It makes me tend to believe that there was a lot more there that we do not know the nuances of yet before we just come to ultimatum or absolute conclusions.
Listen, here's the bottom line, okay? Let's just say for the sake of argument, hypothetically. Let's just say because, again, we don't know what's going on and we're not going to pretend.
That's why this conversation, I know we have to do it because but I said to you in the meeting, that's why it makes me so uncomfortable.
It's very
I agree with
uncomfortable.
you. It's
I feel very uncomfortable.
Well, here's what should make everybody uncomfortable, okay? It's not just that we're having a conversation. It's why. Why are we having this conversation? Because the damn stuff was leaked out by the organization. You covering yourself. What is there to cover? See, we got to be big. We got to be adults here. So.
Okay, so first mistake is when you say, what is there to cover? being sued as an organization. That is what is there to cover. There is a lot at stake. Like, that is what is there to cover. So the first sort of question that was supposed to be a rhetorical one is actually one that is very meaningful. So I don't know where you go from here, and I find him fundamentally wrong in his analysis. But let's continue. Even if he has backstage background knowledge about things, I don't believe he does. But even if he does, this is not okay. But let's continue.
Reportedly, 2 adults had a consensual relationship, and that relationship violated organizational policy. I've heard more. You heard.
No, you can't say that. You can't say allegedly, because even if that is true, you don't know the full extent to what is happening. If we listen to the press release, and by the way, I'm going back in time and I'm ignoring all the facts that came out later, because at this point, that is all they knew, right? So the fact that you think there is an investigation, but you think you already know that it's a consensual relationship, that is bizarre to me that you've already come to that conclusion. But let's continue.
More, we ain't going there. We don't know. But what we can say is 2 grown adults had a consensual relationship, but because it was within the organization, it violated organizational policy. What exactly do you need to get out in front of?
If that's the case, then that's wrong.
That's what.
Exactly. They need to get out in front of, maybe at this point, because we now know that's not the case, right? But at the time, they said there was an investigation that led to his suspension. That's what you knew at the time. So it's very strange to me that you're making the argument that you already know it's consensual, and how dare they, like, what? That is not his problem, by the way. His problem is that they made it public. And that is where I have a problem. Yes, it should be made public.
What was put out. So what I'm saying, that's what was put out.
Wrong.
My point is, that's all. So unless you're telling us there was criminal activity involved and a lawsuit was pending, the point is 2 consensual adults had a consensual relationship that was against organizational policy. And that is why this man is put on Front Street, suspended for the year, with all the shenanigans that go on within organizations. I'm looking at it and I'm going like this.
Okay. I'm not going to generalize, but let me say this. This is very strange to me, that you think that you can date, you can be with, even if it were consensual, your boss's wife, and think you're going to get away with it. The kind of audacity you must have. Now, this is where I think racism, white supremacy, and all of that comes into play. If you fundamentally believe that this is a racist, white supremacist world, and the team leader for your organization is white, and the people who owns the team and the people who essentially pays you, right, to coach the team, are white and a part of some white supremacist system, that you are sleeping with their wife will have a tremendous amount of repercussion. I feel like that. I feel like that's fair. I feel like that's fair. People say she's trash too. Fine. Whatever you believe about her. I don't know her. But I don't know him either. But what I do know is that you don't look at the history of the weaponizing of certain groups of people against you and pretend like that doesn't exist, and be surprised when you're sleeping with the boss's woman and you thought you were not going to get any pushback. Like, I'm confused as to what Stephen A. Smith is defending. At least Neil Long's ex was like, you know what, let me concede and move on. Like, at least let me concede and move on. You think this kind of degeneracy just like goes unpunished? Like, I don't understand. Like, I literally don't understand what you thought was going to happen. You sleep with your boss's wife who have tremendous access, resource, and power, and you are surprised and you are upset that they would use that against you. Of course they would. Like, literally, of course they would. If they didn't, I would find that weird. Like, I would literally find that weird. Like, I would. I would. Like, I would. You're not going to sit here comforted. I don't care how many championships you led us to win. I don't care how good of a coach you are. You disrespect me like that. Look. I mean, you're lucky it's only suspension.
I'm like, come on.
I have a question. Was
Allegedly.
that is it a hard, fast rule that if somebody breaks this policy that it
Every
is
organization is different, but with the Celtics organization, okay, for reasons that we can't get into on national television, because I know, you have an organizational policy in place that prohibits you from engaging in said activities, even if it's consensual. My point is, okay, fine, fire him. You fire him, you let us speculate as to why you fired him. But what you don't do is put out.
That is his problem. He wanted to be able to do the degeneracy undercover. And this, by the way, what he's positing here is what has been happening in Hollywood. Just fire him and let us speculate as to why you fired him. Job. So other people don't know that he engaged in this kind of behavior, allegedly. No. People should know. If true, people should know. If true, this should not be hidden. If true, we're talking about making sure the people who get into bed with him, the proverbial bed, know what they're getting into and what else could be coming in that bed. Like, what do you mean, fire him and let us speculate? Girl, no. Absolutely not.
It was a consensual relationship, and it was a violation of organizational policy. And that's paraded all over the news, and that a year-long suspension is coming with a 50% reduction in salary, even though that's me.
Maybe they're trying to protect.
Come on,
Let
man.
me flip this.
Come on.
No,
You ever thought that maybe they're trying to protect him?
Jay, let me flip this and throw this to you, because what you were saying basically from the Woj report, that if potentially he was given the option, you resign, you're fired, or it's a year. Do you think it's the right choice by him, by Udoka, to decide to accept the year-long suspension?
I can't come to that conclusion because I don't know what everything he's dealing with.
I can. You can sit here, well, not you, but Stephen A. You can sit here like, why wouldn't you fire him? Why wouldn't you do this? Why wouldn't you do that? Why did he accept those terms? This is a negotiation, and you can definitely walk away. So it's not like they forced him to take this deal, and maybe they did, but he ultimately had to concede and say, yes, I'll take this deal. You don't run away from liability. This is not even the video. Let me hurry up and get to the video so we can get into what I really care about now.
Like, we're coming to a hardcore stance on a report that I feel like there's a lot more digging before we find out a lot more detail.
And I'm saying to you, I don't need a lot more details
I understand what you're saying.
to know that this shouldn't have been publicized.
Okay.
That's my issue.
Yeah, I'm with you on it.
That's my issue.
Understand that.
Nothing else. Listen, if somebody got fired here at ESPN, they're going to say, we fired. They ain't gonna tell you why. You can speculate all you want to, but they ain't gonna leak why. This is before the story came out. We got a press conference with Kerrion on national television within the hour.
Welcome, Rabia. Thank you so much.
Okay, because a man that came in here in year one and guided you to the finals, you are suspending him for the rest of the year. I ain't heard nothing from Jason Tatum. I've heard nothing from Jalen.
Wait. Y'all like it down without the gel? Because I usually have gel in it, but if y'all like it down, period. Period. Thank you. I appreciate that. I love a good compliment. Let me continue.
Brown.
Well, in all their defense, I think it's above their pay grade, frankly.
Oh, wait a minute. It ain't above no player's pay grade to comment. Oh, no, not today's generation with player empowerment. Hell no. But you can comment.
I understand, but knowing Jaylen Brown, knowing his character and how smart he is with Jason Tatum, I think they would comment if they had all the information.
Okay, and I don't
think they have all the information.
Listen, there is nothing wrong with saying we don't have all the information, but damn, it's a damn shame that this became public like this, and this man is being thrown out the pattern. I'm talking about his personal business being thrown out the pattern. I'm just saying, there's a
He is mad that this is public. That's the part that ticks him off the most. He is mad that this is public. Now, there is another video that I want to watch, but let me speed it up. Let me speed it up, because I just want to get to Dr. Umar, but I need you guys to have the background first. Demas, these curls, yes, period. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Here for a consensual relationship with a staff member. A couple notes I took copious, and then I'll get right to the reaction, fellas. The suspension comes with a significant financial penalty. There were a couple of violations, at least, and rampant expletive. And Brett Zula, who will be the interim coach, didn't pan out. Stephen A., I'll start with you, and then obviously we'll get to Woj. Your reaction to what you just heard.
I didn't think coming into this show that I could get more furious, but I am. Woj, first of all, to you, thank you for your reporting on this story, on top of everything, as always. All I'm going to do is give you my perspective. I certainly don't expect you to have comments about that. Wick, the owner, Wick Rousberg, I like him. I've known him for years. Constantly running across him, made many Celtics events. Been very fond of him. Incredibly disappointed today. Ime Udoka cannot be defended. His actions were egregious, irresponsible to be in the leadership position that he is in. I'm not here to make any excuses or any apologies for his behavior. It is inexcusable. It's a fireable offense as far as I'm concerned. But it doesn't negate what the Celtics are doing here. According to your reports, Woj, and what we have been talking about over the last couple of days, this was a consensual relationship. Was Ime Udoka involved with himself? The answer to that question is no. Two consenting adults engaged in this act or these actions that clearly were in violation of the Boston Celtics policy. But all we're hearing about is Ime. And to Wick Rousberg, who I profoundly respect, I would strongly advise you. Grousbeck, I'm sorry. I apologize. I don't know why I said Grousbeck. To Wick, I would strongly advise him. Maybe he should speak to a publicist or take some classes himself, because he threw out a couple of bombs there about Ime Udoka. Implications that feed stereotypes and things of that nature. And I'm not going to regurgitate what he said, but it was very, very alarming, highly one-sided. And as far as I'm concerned, based on this press conference, there is no reason on earth right now why Ime Udoka is still a head coach of the Boston Celtics, albeit a suspended one. Because not only did you suspend him, but Woj, correct me if I'm wrong, he also said, then we'll reevaluate after next year. So you retain his right.
That was very gray. That whole part of it. What does he need to do between now and June to retain his job?
He didn't answer that, number one. Number two, he didn't make a declaration that after the year suspension, Ime would be back. He said, we'll revisit it then. Now, I understand that at this particular moment in time, Woj, you and I both know, covering the NBA for as long as we have, that Ime Udoka is an unhirable individual. But the unhirable portion of it, I would make the claim, is primarily due to the fact that the story was leaked out and we are now discussing it publicly.
All right. So the unhirable portion is that the story was leaked out. Not that Ime allegedly did what he did, but that it was leaked out. That the absence of accountability just seems odd to me. It seems odd to me that, like, you're like, oh, all these racist tropes and racist stereotypes. It's like, but did he do it? Do you have the results of the investigation? Do you understand why Ime is accepting his punishment silently, and you are kicking things up out here, having people ask more questions that maybe Ime does not want to answer? Maybe he's getting off light. Like, maybe he's like, oh my God, thank God this is all I got. Like, you don't know. And the fact that you're out here just kicking up a storm and making all this noise is kind of annoying, because I know you're wrong. He has yet to even mention the fact that he cheated, and that's it. So yeah, I mean, I feel like in their mind, cheating was not even a problem. Like, the cheating part is not an issue. Like, I don't think they care. Thank you, by the way. He could have retained some privacy, but he went to another man's property, and the images were captured there. Why do you journalists publicly if you want privacy, black male privilege? No, the thing is, outside of like saying all of this, it's if you fundamentally believe that the world is unfair in how it treats black men, and you think that, and I've heard this argument being made, that white women in some ways were white men sending them to make black men act poorly and then imprison black men. It's like, okay, but did you act in that way? Did you act in a way that would cause you harm, right? Did you act in a way that they had something to retaliate against? It feels like there is an absence of accountability in the conversation. And I don't know why we even have to go into the conversation about white supremacy. If you have your partner and someone who you have power over is cheating with your partner, most human beings would leverage the fact that they have power over you to cause harm, or to actually get back at you. Like, that's a human reaction. The fact that everyone seems so surprised and like, oh my God, the Celtics are evil, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, let's step back and say Ime engaged in terrible behavior, and allegedly, and now he's being punished for it. He accepts it. Like, you all are saying he somehow got a bad deal because he's suspended as opposed to being fired, and we don't know if they're going to take him back, and he accepted it. like you don't escape the fact that he accepted it. But let's get to Dr. Umar now, because this is the only reason I'm doing this video. Dr. Umar and his ideas of consent, because all you've been hearing is, oh, this is a consensual relationship, this is a consensual relationship. I am not here to say it was a consensual relationship or it wasn't a consensual relationship. I wasn't there. I don't care. Hopefully, the people who engage in bad behavior get what they deserve. It's none of my business. What is my business is the message going out by Dr. Umar around consent. So let's hear what Dr. Umar had to say, because this is the dragging. Well, I'm not going to drag. I'm just going to talk. Not mad that he was an infidel. Not mad because he violated company policy, but mad that degeneracy was exposed by a white man boss who have the power to do so. They tell on themselves all the time. MJ, yes. Yeah. Like, I can't believe that. Like, Stephen A. Smith, I only included what he was saying because I needed to, for the context of what Dr. Umar is about to say. So let's go straight to Dr. Umar now. Let's do it. Let's go to Dr. Umar. Dr. Umar, please give us your expert opinion on this. So what happened? There's this lady named Malika Andrews. She met up with Stephen A. Smith. They had an interaction online. Don't really care about the interaction, honestly. Stephen A. Smith is repeating all that he's saying, and Malika is saying, hey, we need to consider that the woman shouldn't be out there on Front Street because we don't know what happened. It really doesn't matter, because that's not why I care. I care because of Dr. Umar and then O'Shea Duke Jackson backing up Dr. Umar. So let's hear what Dr. Umar had to say. Let me read the super chat first. Thank you, MJ. I think I read that. I'm surprised that bro code was strong enough for firing to be all that happened. That owner doesn't care about his wife, or Ime had serious leverage. I'm not going to say what I want to say. Demas, do we get a commercial break? Drop a 1 in the chat. Y'all are going to be mad about these commercials, but drop a 1 in the chat if you want a commercial break. Drop a 1 in the chat if you want a commercial break. Drop a 2 if you want me to continue without a commercial break, because the new commercial is not great. It's degenerate. Not everyone dropping ones. I actually thought y'all would say continue. Look. All right. Well, 1 it is. Give me 2 seconds. Let me pull up this commercial. Wait, there are 2s. I don't know. Wait, how do I do the voting so I can be more accurate? I don't know how to do the voting, so I'm gonna assume you guys said yes, you wanted a commercial break. I'm gonna just go ahead and assume you guys said, yep, we want commercial break. Please give me commercial break. So here is commercial. Here's a commercial break. Oh my God, y'all gonna really hate me for this. Where is it? Which one?
Thinking that a feminine woman is a trophy, especially in this day and age. All these masculine women who want to exude masculine qualities and who value masculine traits. A woman who understands the advantages that lie in her femininity, that's a woman absolutely worth getting down on one knee for. You know, a lot of these women hate femininity. They hate being feminine, they hate being women. So when you get a feminine woman, a woman who will balance you out, who won't create a chaotic dynamic within your relationship, a woman who will be easy to resolve conflict with, easy to talk to, more supportive, more loyal, more nurturing, more caring, more inspirational, more motivational, make you want to be the man you know you want to be. A woman who understands that being sweet and seductive and cute and soft-spoken, that woman is dangerous. That woman is a wife. Y'all know I was sitting here thinking that.
Period. Period. That was not the one I wanted to show, but that one was funny. That one was funny. So that is our new commercial guy. We will be going to him every now and then for a break. So if you thought her face was bad, you need to be the woman that motivate a man to be the man he wants to be. Period. Period. Period.
Stephen A., with all due respect, this is not about pointing the finger. Stop. Not here, Stephen A., to further blame women. That is not why we are here.
One telling me to stop on my show. It ain't happening. Okay, that's number one.
As far as Malika Andrews and ESPN, white feminism has given birth to a radical black feminism. And this radical black feminism, represented by people like ESPN's Malika Andrews, has went so far that they are saying women are never to be held accountable. Women can never be at fault. The name of the woman cannot even be known, even when they do wrongdoing. To hold a woman accountable for cheating on her husband is sexism now. To hold a woman accountable for cheating on her husband is sexism now. To hold a woman accountable for cheating on her husband is sexism, according to the new radical.
Before we continue, if you look in that video's comment, you will see a bunch of degeneracy. We haven't gotten to the consent part, but you will see why and how can we hold a woman who cheats on her man accountable? Please explain to me why you need the name of the woman who cheated on her husband to hold her accountable. How can you, Dr. Umar, and how can us, John Q. Public, hold that woman accountable? Please explain. Are you saying we should be able to shame her? Is that what you're saying? If it turns out that this was not consensual, what are you telling us that we need to do? What does it mean to hold a person accountable for cheating? Would it not be incumbent on the person they're with to hold them accountable for said cheating? Why do we need to know? Why do we need to hold that person accountable? I thought that would have been a private matter. Now the question, wait, so why are y'all mad that he cheated on Nia Long? I didn't bring that up. And while I care about moral compass and cheating, that's not what this video is about. And he obviously popularized because of Nia Long and popularized in sort of pop culture, not like the sports world, right? Because of his relationship. And so if he cheats, they're going to know, right? And if it's made public. But him being held accountable is not about the public. Him being held accountable is being fired because he allegedly slept with his boss's wife. That is accountability over there because he breached company policy. We're not talking about the private covenant between a man and a woman or whoever you're with, right? That is not the private covenant that we're talking about when we're talking about Ime. We're talking about a breach of his fiduciary duty to his organization. That is different than wanting the woman's name to be public so you can drag her. So you can say, see, white women are just destroying black men. No. White women aren't destroying black men. This man, the coach, Ime, decided allegedly to be degenerate. That it has nothing to do with the white supremacist system with its foot on anyone's neck. It is very simple. The fact that there are people saying we need to hold her accountable, let her name out, and the name came out, but I won't put it on here. But we need to hold her accountable because this is not okay. She also cheated. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Why? Why do you want to hold her? Please explain to me what you're going to do about it. I want to know what you're going to be doing about it because I didn't realize that we were on the internet holding people accountable for cheating. I didn't know that. So let me know what you're going to. Themis, can you buy one of Hafi's suit and wear it on a future live? We'd love to see how they actually fit and get your fashionista critique on it. I'm not going to pay $500 for some cheap. No, let me stop. I will. I have a video on Hafiz, and you will know why I've divested from Hafiz and his channel. I really wanted him to be better. I did. I honestly did, but he didn't. But after I drop this video, or maybe we should do this video live, and I'll talk about it, and then we'll see. We'll see. So now black women need to be the suit, period. I just want to know how they're going to hold. Such shame is the whole thing. She isn't one, but it's a con. Yeah, no. Yeah, I know what he wants to do. I'm not ignorant to what they want to do. They want to change the energy from this man who had power in an organization, potentially abusing his power and taking advantage of someone, and they want to make that into something about her. That's what they want to do because accountability does not live here. That's why. That's why. In the same breath, Stephen A. Smith can say, oh, he should be fired. He goes on to defend the action and then say, why did you make it public? Because now he's unhireable. Well, maybe if he did what he did, he should be unhireable because he might take that degeneracy over to another team. Not saying he will, not saying this is true, but if it is, yeah. Dr. Fulmar, and the truth on his face is abysmal. Wait, the worst part hasn't come yet, by the way. The worst part is yet to come. They know a lot about feminism and how a woman should be, but too little about masculinity and how a man should, period. Sips tea. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Just annoying. Now listen to what Dr. This is not the worst part. Like when I was listening to this and I was like, oh, whatever. Dr. Umar being annoying right now. It is what it is. But let's hear, because I did make a statement publicly that if Dr. Umar did build his school and it started running, I will find a way to contribute to that school and help if I can in the success of that school, whether that's financially, whether that's showing up and being a teacher. I don't know, but I will help. I am not about to do that. Unless I hear a retraction from this, I am not about to do it. Unless I hear a retraction, I'm not about to do it. Melinda, welcome to the membership. I think you were already a member. I think you probably up to a member to Thoth. Welcome. By the way, I'm not putting the chat up because it's actually kind of moving quickly on my end. Or is it my computer freezing? I don't know. Something is happening and I don't want to mess with it. But let's see it. Can you guys see that? This is an adult channel. If you could not use a word in a professional setting, please refrain from posting it here. Zero tolerance. Thank you in advance for complying. Yeah.
Black feminists, not RBG, RBF, not RBG, RBF, not RBG. We now got to fight. So it's RBG versus RBF. It's the red, black, and green revolutionary Pan-Africanist RBG versus the radical black feminist RBF. So you got to choose a side. Every black woman has to choose a side. Every sister must decide. My butter pecan queens, my cinnamon queens, my butter almond queens, my African vanilla queens, my African lemonade queens, my sweet brown sugar queens, my fudge queens, my pistachio queens, my nutmeg queens, my cinnamon queens. You have to decide. Do you stand and fight with the RBG or do you stand and fight with the RBF? Every black woman must make a decision. You are with the revolutionary black community for freedom, justice, and equality, the RBG, or you are with the radical black feminist, the RBF. The RBF. Black woman, who do you stand with? Black women, who do you stand with? Are you with Dr. Umar in the RBG? Or you with Hope Gazelle and Malika Andrews in the RBF? Are you with Dr. Umar in the RBG? Or you with Malika Andrews and Hope Gazelle with the RBF? Where do you stand? No more riding the fence, black women. No more riding the fence, black women. No more riding the fence, my beautiful African queens. You are with the RBG or you are with the RBF. And that goes for the brothers too. Because we got some black men out there who are also feminists. You have black men out there who will co-sign anything the radical black feminists say about black men. You have some Negroes, some beta males, some spineless Duncan Hines, soft back jelly spine Negroes who will co-sign anything the radical black feminists say against black men. So to you beta male feminists out there, to you beta male feminists out there, I don't ever want to see you with the RBG flag in your life. You cannot wave that flag. You cannot, you beta male feminists out there who are empowering the radical black feminists, you are the enemies of the alpha male kingdom. Now, Ime Udoka.
So he just said absolutely nothing. That is fine. I was walking away. I'm glad I wasn't by my phone because I would not have heard the rest because I would have stopped it there. So we are not spices, not toppings. Yeah, which by the way, on his Fox Soul interview, this is the problem. Instead of treating people as humans and engaging people in a meaningful way, he does this, right? And when he does this and found out that the lady what's her name? Was it Hope? That the person that he was talking to was a trans woman. He had a problem. Now, if you had spoken to people with respect without trying to do the buttercup cinnamon spice queen thing, if you had done that, you would not be in the position that you are in defending yourself now. But that's neither here nor there. This is absolutely irrelevant. So let's get to the part where I think it is not only wrong, but absolutely dangerous what he's going to say. And you guys might not feel the way that I feel, but I do find it really, really hard to believe that a psychologist would come out, even if he's a school psychologist, right, would come out and say this, particularly when you know young people listen to you. Don't know why, but they do. Thank you, Mayor.
Was wrong. He had no right cheating on Nia Long. But he was wrong. Wrong. But you cannot excuse the snow bunny. You cannot protect the snow bunny because she knew what she was doing. She voluntarily got involved. She was not a victim. Her husband was Ime's boss. Her husband was part of the Celtics power structure. How could she be a victim? Her husband was the part of the Celtics power structure. How could she be a victim? I believe she told on purpose, because I heard somebody say that she accused Ime Udoka of inappropriate behavior.
Sorry, not sorry. Thank you. This is where we get into he's going to get into it, right? Now, before I let him say what he's going to say and annoy me to the end of the earth, let me say now, if you believe that this woman is a part of the power structure and he engaged in that way, what did you think was going to happen? Please tell me what you thought was going to happen. You don't get to run around and cry after you've participate in it, right? You don't get to come out here now and pretend to be the victim. No one told that man to go sleep with that woman. That
After or before the affair. So if he done bent you over, if he done already took those vanilla cookies, how can he then be guilty of inappropriate behavior with a woman he done already slam, bam, wham, thank you, ma'am? Somebody help me understand. How can
let's go back a little bit.
be guilty of inappropriate behavior with a woman he done already slam, bam, wham, thank you, ma'am? Somebody help me understand. How can he be guilty of inappropriate behavior with a woman that he done already wham, bam, slammed and thank you, ma'am? How can Ime Udoka be guilty of inappropriate behavior with the same woman he done already wham, bam, slammed and thank you, ma'am? Lord have mercy.
That is dangerous. That is extra. Like, this is not funny at all. This is not, this is no longer funny. When you are putting out there into the world that you cannot be inappropriate with someone after you've had some kind of intercourse with them where it was consensual, exposed, you can still be inappropriate. Like, it is, like, this is not something to like just brush over and like, oh, he's joking. No, a lot of people actually do believe this. A lot of the cases when I was in law school and we were going through when husband was R-ing their wives, when boyfriends were R-ing their girlfriends, part of their defense that did not work, thankfully, was that, well, we were together. No, consent is continuous. Like, you don't have a sort of blanket consent to do whatever you want. So even if at one point there was some kind of consensual relationship, now this is outside the scope of Ime, right? He is assuming arguendo here. He's saying that it is impossible essentially for you to be inappropriate with someone that you've already. This is the problem. This is the problem. This is, the men in the comments are like saying yes, and it just, it bothers me because, like, on one hand we can pretend like, oh well, he's just making content online, right? But on another, he is supposed to be some sort of a leader. And if this is what the leaders are saying in the community, how do we expect the degeneracy to end? He is so repulsive. Yeah, that was extraordinarily repulsive. That statement, Dr. Umar and Kenya are the danger. Yeah. Oh, I've been intentionally ignoring Kanye. I have been intentionally ignoring Kanye. And while I don't think that does anything because so many people have already spoken about him, I think that Well, I'm going to continue to ignore Kanye. Let me leave that. This is dangerous. This is dangerous. Women aren't property. Women aren't property, and they definitely aren't your property. You don't own someone's body. You can't get access to it whenever you want. That's not okay. And you don't have to be cis hetero man to know this. By the way, because I already feel the foolishness coming. This is not okay. This is why I say these men loathe other men as well as women, setting them up for horrible consequences. Yeah, the thing is, there is a level of dignity, not just in your words, but the words you choose to use, but in the substance of what you're trying to say, that I would expect for someone like Dr. Umar to use. There is supposed to be some level of tact, there is supposed to be some level of care. And even if you want to have the conversation about the white supremacist system that rewards and punishes unequally for different groups of people, you can do that. You can have that conversation. You should have that conversation, but you cannot mask it in your wanting to get away with degeneracy. You cannot preach these kinds of ideas that are ultimately dangerous to the community. The abuse that happens within the community, you are justifying it now. There are women who actually don't know or understand that they have been odd in certain kinds of relationship because they too believe this foolishness. That's not okay. That is absolutely not okay. No, absolutely. Thank you, MJ, by the way. Sante, I think 25, welcome to the membership. I appreciate you guys so much. This is not okay. This is literal degenerate behavior.
Lord have mercies. Racism is one hell of a system. White supremacy is one hell of a system.
If white supremacy is a system that punishes men who believe that if they've been given consent in one occasion, then they have consent to infinity, then I'm gonna question what your system is, Dr. Umar. I need to know what your system is. I need to know what your system. And the reason I'm saying this, and the reason it was so blatant to me, is there were people literally having conversations about how slaves gave consent to their masters when they engage in sexual behaviors. There were conversations happening online that literally took me aback because men were saying that Black women during slavery consented to engage with their masters. Like at some point, this needs to stop. Oh, I'm not lying. Oh, I'm not lying. I literally had a conversation with someone online who said, I'm not going to play the video here. So if you want to believe I'm lying, that's fine. I'm not about to play the video here. But I had a conversation with someone who literally said slave consented, and I pushed. I was like, do you believe slave can consent to having sexual relationships with, like, in what world do you even understand consent? And apparently, no. If this is one of the leaders, then no, I don't think these people understand consent. Please do not put the person's name in the chat or the channel name. If you do, moderators, please remove it. Umar should have been banned from all social media platforms for their statement alone. Agreed. Or he should come back and clarify it, or change it, or remove the video. You don't get to do this. I don't care what you think kind of gender war is happening. I don't care. This is inappropriate. It's the problem. It is a problem. You cannot do this when we are in a culture like college campus is essentially our culture at this point. You can't do this. With the statistics how they are regarding how many young women before they touch the age of 13 and then 18, what happens to them, you cannot do this. And then you're going to call accountability a white supremacist system that women have to give consent. You think that let me not bastardize what he said, because what he's calling a white, if a white woman engage with you and then later says no, it means no. You don't have access to her because you started and there was a yes, and then on another occasion there was a no. You don't have access. You should not have that kind of access to anyone, black or white. But in the context of your white supremacist system, you are wrong. The fact that you would put something out there like this is ridiculous to me. Thank you. Think for yourself, not dumber. I watched that panel you were on, Themis. It was disgusting to hear black men say that and watch black women, except one, sit there and quietly agree to that. Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad someone here can vouch for the reality of that. It is what it is. Like, I'm not about to sit here. I don't lie on here, so it is what it is. But let's move on.
You can sleep with a black man 100 times. But if he flirts with you in the elevator the day after the affair is over, it's sexual harassment. Lord have mercy. You can sleep.
I don't understand the confusion. Like, I don't understand the confusion. How are you this degenerate? You don't have full access. And I'm not, when he said flirt, I'm not talking about flirting. I am saying you cannot touch, you cannot engage, you don't have access to people because they told you yes on one occasion. These dudes say his piece then bring violence. Look, no means no fool. Yeah.
With a black man 100 times. But if he flirts with you in the elevator the day after your last encounter, it's sexual harassment. This is getting ridiculous. This is getting out of hand. And this is why. No disrespect to white women. I have nothing against white women. I have nothing against Asian women. I have nothing against Arabs. I have nothing against East Indians. I have nothing against Latinos. I have nothing against Anglo-Saxon women. I respect all women, understand you. But if I got to go down, it's going to have to be a black woman. I'll be damned if I'm going to let my career get destroyed by a woman from another race. Ime Udoka, and I don't want to add on to your troubles, my brother, because I know you're hurting right now.
Look, that is disgusting also. It sounds like you saying you're going to do some stuff to a black woman. Now, I heard you when you said if you are going to go down, it's going to be a black. No, let it not be. Please, please let it not be. Because if you believe you have consent because you got it once, that you have it ad infinitum, no. I'm going to need you to love other people. No. No one wants that. Also, apparently, well, yeah.
You made a mistake, brother. You're a human being. You made a mistake, but some mistakes are worse than others. Ime Udoka, I don't want to add on, my brother. You made a mistake. I understand, but some mistakes are worse than others, my brother. You might have threw away your whole career for a bunny. Ime, how did you get snow bunnied? Ime Udoka, how did you let yourself get snow bunnied?
How did you let yourself get snow bunnied? Who is the victim there then? How did you let yourself get snow bunnied? How? By engaging in behaviors that were bad. So wait, it's not others. It's not just an external locus of control. It's not those people do this to me, but it's I had an obligation in my organization to uphold a certain standard and I failed. You have responsibility. Stop saying you got snow, whatever. Stop doing that. That is not okay. That's literally not okay. It's almost like these people literally have no autonomy. Like it's like, oh, white woman, I'm gone. It's the white woman's fault. No, that lady, I don't know that lady. I don't know that lady. I do not know that lady. I don't know what she wants, does, or whatever. But I do know that eBay was involved of his own volition, allegedly. So I don't know. Allegedly, Ime was actively involved. And so he should take some responsibility. There should be accountability. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, you're digging too much into this. You're just talking. No, this is part of the sentiment of victimhood, right? And I'm not saying people aren't victims. A lot of people are, but at some point you have to take some responsibility for your own actions. You cannot escape liability by saying white women came in and did this to me. What? If she did, she would be the one. You know what? Let me stop. Let's continue. These men are blaming white women now for what they did. Why? Like, at what point do y'all stop and say, nah, 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 nah. That was him. That was Ime. Yeah, that was him. He even did it. Like I don't even feel bad for him, but it's like kind of sad that he took his L and wanted to disappear quietly. But these men are out here defending him, and he did not ask them to defend him. He's probably like literally at home, like, please. I just want this to end and be done because what I did was wrong. I no longer have to talk about it. Let me just take this L in private. And these men are out here with their soapbox just going off, misunderstanding consent intentionally.
Ime Udoka, you just won the Eastern Conference Championship in your first year. How did you let yourself get snow bunnied? You will never see King Kong consciousness get snow bunnied. No revolutionary black man can ever allow himself to get snow bunnied. Brothers and sisters, brothers and sisters, brothers and sisters. And you Negroes out there trying to blame Nia Long? You got Negroes out there trying to blame Nia Long? You got Negroes out there trying to call this woman a hoe and promiscuous and can't keep a man? Listen, you dead wrong on that, bro. You dead wrong on that. This ain't got a damn thing to do with her unless she told him to go sleep with the bunny. If she didn't tell him to go.
All right. That was not balanced, by the way. He just threw that in there. And nobody's saying it's Neil Long's fault that I've seen. So he just threw that in there. They still believe women, especially black women, are possessions. That's why their words match their action. Believe them the first time. Yeah. But I'm going to close on this one. Where O'Shea Duke Jackson, I shouldn't even, I should just skip this. O'Shea Duke, let me speed it up. O'Shea Duke Jackson hopped in to cover what Dr. Umar was saying. So let's hear what he had to say. Someone said skip. I should let's see. Drop a 1 if I should skip and a 2 if I should review. Drop a 1 if I should skip and a 2 if I should review. Because please skip him. All right, people. I feel like I should skip a 2. Let me wait for these to come in. 1, skip, 2, review. All right. All right. I see more 2s than 1s. So I'm gonna, but I see a lot of 1s. So I'm gonna review halfway. Let's see. Let's see. All right.
Been responding to what is going on with Boston Celtics suspended coach Ime Udoka. And around that particular time, Stephen A. Smith had a particular interaction with Malika Andrews, who's also a correspondent of ESPN, when we heard Malika Andrews say some pretty interesting things. In so many words, she was saying that, hey, the woman that Ime Udoka was cheating with should not have her name put out there. That's sexist, it's offensive, things like that. In other words, it was okay to put out Ime Udoka, but to not expose the woman that, he was cheating with. Also on that.
Why do they keep saying expose a woman, right? The whole point is that he is getting fired or getting put on suspension or under some kind of investigation. The reality is people would want to know why if you just put it out. And they didn't tell you specifically why, but this man got suspended. I'm sure a sports fan would have wondered why. Like, again, I don't understand what these men want to do to this woman. I don't, like, if her husband forgave her, then that's on them. If he's breaking up with her, then that's on them. If she's a part of the organization, then they need to figure that out. But you don't get to say, put her out there. Like, why? 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 No, like, what is the legitimate reason for her being out there? There are legitimate reasons for him being out there. If someone is going to hire him, they need to know this, right? If she's looking for a job, then they need to do it too. If she failed and she's being suspended and people would want to know that she's being suspended, then sure. But you don't get to claim this is white supremacy at work and she's a white woman without understanding that, hey, you don't have any power in the system. If this is the white supremacist system, you, sir, on the internet do not have the power or reach to push that woman out there in the public. Now, she's out, but it wasn't because of you. Now, you can cry and demand all you want, but if you believe, and this is what I don't get, if you believe this is like a white supremacist system, you would have moved very differently. So I'm just going to ignore that and pretend like you guys don't actually believe this. I believe it, but I don't think y'all believe it, because y'all wouldn't operate this way. It does make sense to operate this way. So let's continue. I'm actually annoyed. Should I? No, I'm going to play 2 more minutes.
Particular broadcast, if you can remember, she was very disrespectful towards Stephen A. Smith on his own show. But that wasn't all of it. The assistant coach, who is now the interim head coach of the Boston Celtics, Joe Mazzulla, has a perfect record. But it was Malika Andrews who went and tried to search for negative things. There was a fight that was dismissed he had when he was in high school or something like that. She was doing everything that she could do to bring this particular black man down. But that's not.
So I was waiting for this comment. I think people don't understand what protection looks like. Even when someone does something bad in a community, the community can chastise, right? But there are certain ways you go about doing that. You don't just drag someone's name all through the mud, right? When there is power and power dynamics at play, there is a way in which you go about it that I think in the Black community, people just want to drag her and call her all kinds of names, as opposed to recognizing maybe there was a power dynamic, but her husband is above Ime. So what does that mean in terms of her relationship to Ime? At this point, it sounds like someone played some dumb games and got some dumb prizes. That's what, like, literally, that's what it feels like. And everyone is mad now about it. Themis, do you think if he cheated with a man, they would be so quick to defend, expose, or if it was a woman manager with a man? No, they wouldn't. No. Yeah, no. I can't. I know for a fact they wouldn't, but I can't make the judgment that I actually want to make based on your comment now, because he would be getting dragged. They would be cussing to fire him. There would be no defense. So yeah. Yeah, Themis, in what world do you have to explain this to people? Apparently in this world. No, but I get you.
Not only the one case here, are the two cases. Malika Andrews, like Hope Giselle, consistently are going on around the black internet, looking for things to tear black men down. And it has got to the word of Dr. Umar Johnson. Now, I am a critic and a fan of the good doctor. And once he makes some good, talking points, I got to go ahead on and give him his praise too. And Dr. Umar Johnson broke it down for black feminists like Malika Andrews who feel some type of way towards black men. Let's play that particular clip and we'll come back.
Stephen A., with all due respect, this is not about pointing the finger. Stop. Not here, Stephen A., to further blame women. That is not why we are here.
One telling me to stop on my show. It ain't happening. Okay, that's number one.
As far as Malika Andrews and ESPN, white feminism has given birth to a radical black feminism. And this radical black feminism, represented by people like ESPN's Malika Andrews, has went so far that they are saying women are never to be held accountable. Women can never be at fault.
That is a straw man. That's not what was being said, but it's fine. Someone said Malika is biracial, yeah.
The name of the woman cannot even be known, even when they do wrongdoing. To hold a woman accountable for cheating on her husband is sexism now. To hold a woman accountable for cheating on her husband is sexism now. To hold.
You know what? It would be sexism. Why are you, Dr. Umar, who have no relationship with this woman, don't know that? Why do you want to hold a woman you don't know accountable for cheating on her husband? Like, I literally don't. I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand. How can you, Dr. Umar, hold a woman who cheated on her husband, who you have no relation? You know what?
Hold a woman accountable for cheating on her husband is sexism, according to the new radical black feminists. Not RBG, RBF. Not RBG, RBF. Not RBG. We now got to fight. So it's RBG versus RBF. It's the red, black, and green revolutionary Pan-Africanist RBG versus the radical black feminist RBF. So you got to choose a side. Every black woman has to choose a side. Every sister must decide. My butter pecan queens, my cinnamon queens, my butter almond queens, my African vanilla queens, my African lemonade queens, my sweet brown sugar queens, my fudge queens, my pistachio queens, my nutmeg queens, my cinnamon queens. You have to decide. Do you stand and fight with the RBG or do you stand and fight with the RBF? Every black woman must make a decision. You are with the revolutionary black community for freedom, justice, and equality, the RBG, or you are with the radical black feminist, the RBF. The RBF. Black woman, who do you stand with? Black women, who do you stand with? Are you with Dr. Umar in the RBG? Or you with Hope Giselle and Malika Andrews in the RBF? Are you with Dr. Umar in the RBG? Or you with Malika Andrews and Hope Giselle with the RBF? Where do you stand? No more riding the fence, black women. No more riding the fence, black women.
So now, after listening to what Dr. Umar Johnson is saying, I want to kind of compare feminism, or black feminism, to public and private sector economics. I'm not an economist, but I want to kind of talk about what the public sector pretty much does. The public.
O'Shea's going to talk economics. Period. Let's get into this. Get into that. All right. I have my notepad and I have my pen. Period. Let's get into this. Get into it. Yep. Let me read this. I'm convinced Umar is strolling to those school funds audits are coming. Period. To pay. Look, we'll see.
Public sector is not for profit. The public sector in most of the developed countries in the world are really good at building roads, developing healthcare systems, developing educational systems, things like that. You see your tax dollars going to work. And if you really think about it, in feminism, if you really look at it, it's really big in the public sector. Okay. Now, again, public sector is really not for profit. All right. But now the private sector in corrupt countries, well, people get paid low wages and things typically don't happen. But if you want better products, if you want better services, the best way you can get it is the private sector. If the private sector is improved, then you'll get it. Now, what am I talking about? What I feel is with feminism and black feminism, they've given up on the private sector. What do I mean by that? I'm not talking about jobs and things like that. I'm talking about men, husbands, right? Men are the private sector in economics for women. We give the things that public sector typically don't give. Houses, money, things like that. You know, the ability to make a woman's life easier. And what you're seeing from a lot of women right now with feminism, because obviously, you know, feminism, they're always lobbying government, you know, with the single mothers. I'm not saying this is always the case, but I'm just giving you a snapshot of what I see. Let's give more mothers more, rights care, lower housing, vouchers, and things like that. Not every woman is a single mother that's a feminist. I understand. But what I'm saying is that typically people don't see any value in the private sector for a certain good or service. And that good is black men. So the issue that Dr. Umar Johnson is going to have with that great argument.
This link, I'm only dropping this link for one person and one person only. This link is for anyone who can come up and explain what he just said. I'm going to replay it. I'm going to pause. You guys can leave. It's fine. The stream is done. Actually, let me end it. Let's go in the after show. It's done. The stream is over. But that link is for anyone who can come up here and explain what he's talking about. Please. Only like I'm not, don't troll, don't do any of that. I really want to know, because I'm going to explain what I understood and it don't make sense to me. All right. I don't see anyone, and I'm sure someone here understand. Let me play it again. Let me play it again, and everyone listen and think about it, and then you can come on and tell me what he said.
Building roads, developing healthcare systems, developing educational systems, things like that. You see your tax dollars going to work. And if you really...
It's black women.
So now, after listening to what Dr. Umar Johnson is saying, I want to kind of compare feminism, or black feminism, to public and private sector economics. I'm not an economist, but I want to kind of talk about what the public sector pretty much does. The public sector is not for profit. The public sector in most of the developed countries in the world are really good at building roads, developing healthcare systems, developing educational systems, things like that. You see your tax dollars going to work. And if you really think about it, in feminism, if you really look at it, it's really big in the public sector, okay? Now, again, public sector is really not for profit, all right? But now, the private sector, in corrupt countries, well, people get paid low wages, and things typically don't happen. But if you want better products, if you want better services, the best way you can get it is the private sector. If the private sector is improved, then you'll get it. Now, what am I talking about? What I feel is, with feminism and black feminism, they've given up on the private sector. What do I mean by that? I'm not talking about jobs and things like that. I'm talking about men, husbands, right? Men are the private sector in economics for women. We give the things that public sector typically don't give. Houses, money, things like that. The ability to make a woman's life easier. And what you're seeing from a lot of women right now with feminism, because obviously, feminism, they're always lobbying government, with the single mothers. I'm not saying this is always the case, but I'm just giving you a snapshot of what I see. Let's give more mothers more, rights care, lower housing, vouchers, and things like that. Not every woman is a single mother that's a feminist. I understand. But what I'm saying is that typically people don't see any value in the private sector for a certain good or service. And that good is black men. So the issue that Dr. Umar Johnson is going to have with that great argument is, what's the incentive? What is the incentive for black women to say, I don't want to be, RBF. I want to be with the black men. What is the black man offering? What is the black man offering that the government won't give me? Because the government also is tied into policies that affect also the private sector. And see, that is also where the rubber meets the road. For me, I understand that, having a family, having business networks, it gives you a lot more than what the public sector can give you.
Do you know those games where you just throw random words in? You pick a subject and you throw random words, and it's supposed to formulate sentences, but none of it usually makes sense. There are sentences, but I don't. How am I explain it, please? Thank you.
Davis, I'm trying to make sense of it as well. I don't even know if I should start with Dr. Umar. And I know this is a serious topic, so sometimes I laugh. Yes, sometimes I left just like to not be like so mad because it's a dangerous rhetoric to be spreading around out there. But what annoys me the most, right, is these quote unquote doctors and leaders trying to use Black women emotion to fight their cause or to get to allow or to to get them to be on their side. Wrong is wrong. Like, why is he backing that man up? Like,
Well, apparently wrong is not wrong with them, but yes. But I want to understand what he's saying. I'm kind of over Dr. Umar and all that foolishness. I'm on this foolishness. What is O'Shea Duke Jackson saying?
oh, I'm always a loss for words with the narrative he's trying to push. I really hope that one day he will get to a point where he will use all that energy into urging Black men to become better men. That's all I can hope for.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that. Everyone will have 2 minutes. The panel is closed. If you're backstage, you're the only ones who get to speak, but you'll have 2 minutes, and I'm trying to be stricter. So, Demas, he's saying welfare to. Okay, so I got a little bit of that, actually. I did get somewhere in that it felt like he said feminism made women choose the government, and I'm assuming no longer needed men to provide for them. But my question to him would be, at what point did he was look,
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Can I just say, even if that's the narrative he wanna go with, where is the lie? Black men have shown themselves to not be reliable, especially in America. So like,
yeah.
so it's like either way you spin it, for me, it's like they should be urging these men to be better men. I don't care what they say. Like, Black women have raised kids on their own, and the cycle keeps continuing because there aren't good. There's not guidance in the communities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's saying welfare to Black men for real. That's what he's saying. Yeah, that's what I felt. And yeah, I said that. Thank you, Helena.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. The private and public sector. Well, you didn't come up in time with your whiteboard, Prince Betty. Prince Betty, we need the whiteboard immediately. Now. All right, Concern, your 2 minutes.
So I understand what he's saying. He's saying that to your point, welfare to Black men at a home, but he's under the impression that Black women have a choice. So they abandoned their community that was basically doing like some sort of barter system where there was like this open field that we all took from, right? Like how taxes work, where we align things on the budget. We completely let that go for a private sector life of taking from the white man his scraps. And so he thinks that Black men have a right to be mad because Black women are being uppity. That's what he said too.
I didn't get that, but period.
I think that's what he's saying. Like, you don't want to take this IKEA sofa from, the government. You don't, because in Sweden it's government stuff. So you don't want to take this. You want to go get your stuff shipped in from the Italian couch. That's basically what he insinuated, that like we out here drinking from the local reservoir instead of like getting like EV like water, like bottled water. Like, it's like, what are you why would you make it look like we're talking about the same thing? Why would you make it look like Black men had somewhere to provide Black women too? Like, if I had to go on welfare, it's because you couldn't afford to take care of it.
Tell them to go read the Moynihan report on that.
God.
And that's from Patrick Moynihan. I'm kidding.
Thanks, Demas.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Come on, Demas. Come on, Demas.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. It's Jaton, Demas. You got it right the last time, but
you put the spelling properly in there for me.
Yeah.
So it says, debt-free package, welfare took black men out of the home, but he also said black men were giving black women home. Wait, this is actually quite funny. I'm so sorry. When were they doing that? No. How dare you ask the last part of the question? The first part is important. Debt-free package. So black men were giving black women a home. If they were, so welfare took black men out of the homes that they gave black women. Period. Period. That's all I heard. I'm not going to read the question. I'm not reading the last question because that's that on that. Go ahead, Jeton.
Yeah, so I was confused, and when you played it a second time, I'm like, oh, because I didn't understand why he mentioned private and public sector. So basically, he was saying that black men are the private sector, and people don't really value the private sector. They only value the public sector, which is the government, the
In a
other
capitalist society, oh, let me stop. You have your 2 minutes. Sorry.
the system and all of those things. And basically he was saying that because of feminism, we value the public sector more than we value the private sector. I just don't think that that's a good, like, maybe he could have used a better like example or analogy, but that
He probably should have stick to a subject he understood.
yeah. Thank you, Famous.
Thank you. I love your picture, by the way.
Thank you.
Yasmin, go ahead. But before you go, this is definitely a whiteboard moment. Look, Prince Betty have 2 minutes. The panel is closed, by the way. I think Yasmin, I'm gonna Conscious will be the last person I add. Yeah, if Petty can come up before Conscious is done, then yes. I do have to go back to work. It's interesting that he compared black men to the private sector, which has to be regulated by government to prevent monopolies, predatory practice, exploiting consumers. The irony was not missed. Oh, it was missed up here, but I'm glad you didn't miss. I'm glad you didn't miss it because this is a drag. This is an intellectual drag if I ever seen one. It's giving economics 101, period. And I am here for you. Thank you, Maya. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I love this and I'm going to keep it up as we talk. Go ahead, Yasmin. You 2 minutes.
Yeah, so what he said basically it wasn't based in logic. What I heard, I thought he was trying to compare black women to the private sector and trying to say they had no value and black men were the public and they had value. And when you go to the private, that's when feminism basically it sounded like he wanted to control black women. He wanted to say that the public sector is where the value is and you need it was very confusing. It was very confusing.
So you don't understand either, period. I don't. I'm not even going to pretend like I understand. You still have a minute.
Yes, it just threw me off guard because I noticed the people that went before me, they said that black men were the private and they didn't have any value, but I thought he was trying to say that black men were the value and you needed black men. It sounded like he was trying to manipulate you into the talking points that you need black men again.
Look, let me just say, it sounds like O'Shea Duke Jackson is engaged in like a pedagogical approach, and he's letting us think at a higher level. So that's that's on Socrates.
Yes, because it was very sneaky. He kept saying the private has no value, the public has value. Feminism is the private. It was very sneaky and confusing.
Thank you, Yasmin. Conscious, you have 2 minutes, but Petty looked like he didn't do it in time. They said art can't be rushed. Maya, thank you so much. I love that. I love this comment so very much. Go ahead. You're muted. You're muted.
Okay, thanks for having me on.
Thank you.
Basically, what I got from that is that he was trying, number one, he doesn't know about economics properly with the wording that he's using, the public sector and the private sector. So basically he was saying the public sector is, welfare, Section 8, food stamps and all that stuff. And the private sector is black men. And he was saying because black women have accepted the public sector have given us all these things that Black women could thrive on, that where is the incentive for Black women to be with a Black man? And really, that is wrong. That's completely wrong. He's using
Oh my
wordings
God,
wrong.
that makes sense though. Like what you said, he said no. Like I honestly thought it was gibberish. That makes that yeah. Go ahead. Sorry. Period.
So, you
Thank
know,
you.
so he doesn't know about economics. He doesn't know the definitions, the wording, and then his whole his his whole thing about the incentives for to be with a Black man. He what have Black men provided for us? That's where's those, those symptoms are not there. What he's saying that Black men provided for us, they have not been providing for us. They have not been staying in the homes and taking care of the homes and providing financially for the homes and being good husbands and good fathers in the homes. So that would be the incentives, but it has nothing to do with public and private sectors. So he just is a dummy, really. He really is.
Economics for Dummy 101. Period.
Right. So
Thank
thank
you
you.
so much. No, I appreciate that explanation. It actually did bring some clarity to me. Like for real, I didn't know what he was talking about at all. So thank you.
Okay.
I knew he was saying
All right.
Buffy took Black man out of the home though. Thank you. That was nice. I like her. She did that. That was I like that she said it was wrong, but I also like that she actually provided clarity. That was good. Themis, the welfare argument is a lie. Section 8 food stamps are not gender-based program. Oh, I know that. I have worked as a case manager, and my caseload consists of single Black men 20 and up. These people are liars. When I was in school, it's not an internship, but my what do you call this? Clinic. My clinic was to prevent people from being evicted. And I know from that experience that men can get. I'm done. I'm like, no, yeah, I know that. I smiles accepted, thank you, but I know that it's like no. These people are just annoying. But whenever they do it, they refer to the man out of the home rule, the house rule, in the 1960s, which doesn't affect them now, but it's annoying. All right, Prince Freddie, go ahead. Thank you, by the way. Smiles accepted.
Good evening.
Good evening. Do you have it for us?
I thought I could just draw as we go along instead. My name, of course, is Prince Petty, everyone. You probably know me as Prince Petty. And here I have this diagram that we can work on together. So I have over here the Black woman, and this is a magnifying glass. It doesn't look that good. I'm not an artist. And this is a cancel sign, if you know what that is. I don't. And then we have the home over here, as well as some cash. Let me add a little more cash because you never have enough money. So this magnifying glass represents the public sector. And then this represents the private sector. The public sector is going to be the government. We can call it welfare. And the private sector is going to be Black men. So Black women have to go through the private sector, Black men, to get to the home and the money historically. But over time, Black women start going to kind of welfare and they get money and housing that way. Maybe Section 8 or some other government programs, scholarships, or just, getting their own individual education without government interference. So the problem here is when you go through the public sector to get to your money and housing, you no longer need the private sector, which would be Black men. So I think O'Shea was saying that we need to go back. We need to go back in time to the private sector, I guess, because we do have the public sector. I want to point that out again, as well as the private sector. Now, when we put the private sector here, we have the public sector. Now, the public sector is more about money and housing, but then the private sector is not profitable. So the public if you go from the private to the public sector and you kind of go around here, then hopefully we can facilitate some understanding. Yeah, that's all I have.
Period. Thank you so much. That was so very well done. I think now everyone has a full understanding of what it means when we talk about the public versus private sector and how Black men is one. Black women go through either the public or private sector to arrive at a home or money. So I want to extend an apology to O'Shea because I didn't understand what he was saying, but I do appreciate you for coming up here and explaining it better. And I'm in full agreement with him and you. So thank you both.
Okay. Yeah, when it comes down to it, it's just the difference between the public and the private sector. In the private sector is, I guess, different than the public sector.
Yeah. And the Black women can either choose the private or public sector.
Yeah. Well, the private sector doesn't come with the house and money, I guess. That was kind of a part that I made up. But other than that, yeah.
All right. Can he explain why the Black men got kicked out of their private sector houses?
I don't have a lot of space left on my thing. I feel like I did it well enough.
I think you did it well. And we will on Friday. We might figure out how the Black man, being the private sector with the home, got kicked out of their home by welfare. So stay tuned. We will have another whiteboard session with Prince Petty. And thank you so much for extending your knowledge, your grace, your wisdom to us, the lesser folks. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem. Good night.
Good night, everyone. Goodbye. I do hope that you all learned something tonight. If you haven't learned anything, it is that I am wrong and that I need a whiteboard to explain to me what is happening. And yeah, thank you, Prince Petty, for being so gracious with your time. It is great to know that there are people in the audience who are willing to teach me, and I do apologize for my ignorance. Someone said whiteboard with Petty is a segment. Oh, yeah, it is. I appreciate you guys so much. I do have to get back to work, and I do want to go to the gym, so I can't be posting thirst traps if I'm not going to the gym. And so I just got back here. I've lost some weight. Let me get to the gym and then head over to my Instagram and why am I this way? I'm not vain at all. I just like aesthetics. All right. Have a wonderful night, guys. Thank you so much. I didn't realize there were over 1,000 people in here. Thank you, guys. I appreciate this. Thank you for hanging with me. If you learned nothing, know that Dr. Umar is absolutely wrong on consent. That is the only point I wanted to drive home tonight. And consent is not continuous if it is retracted. That means if you want to have and say you have someone's consent to do something, make sure that consent is continuous and don't assume it is there because you got it previously. That is not a thing. You could go to prison. That is that on that. Themis, can the commercial breaks just be the I don't know what WB with PP means. Oh, whiteboard with Prince Petty. To the extent Prince Petty want to have a permanent, be on, obviously. I like the whiteboard sessions. I probably should actually create like a commercial break where I just get the moderators on and we have like a powwow moment and discuss certain things. I don't know. We'll see. If Prince Petty, I don't want to like tie him to that. But yeah, all right, that's it. That's that on that. Have a wonderful. Someone said Sinji was in here. Hey, Sinji, I didn't see Sinji in here, but if you were here, hey, I'm saying hello. Bye.